Hi, this is Tony Reid with Rattling the Cage for Tap Out MMA Worldwide Magazine, here with the Spaniard, Charlie Brenneman. We're here at Dunham's. It's a grand opening here in Bloomsburg. Grand opening of the store. How long's the store been open?
Yesterday morning at
Yesterday morning at 9 o'clock. So
I actually saw the date that said May 20th, and I thought,
I see on the sign coming in.
I'm here at the right day.
All right, so we're here for a meet and greet, so we'll jump into some questions here while we have a minute. If you could choose one fight from your career that every MMA fan should see, which fight would you choose and why so far at this point?
Yeah, I'd probably just have to go with my last fight because it was my most dominant fight.
Great.
You know, like from the beginning, I would say watch my first fight and then watch maybe my last fight just to see the progression. Yeah, exactly that. But you know, it's like things are finally starting to come together, so I'll probably just say that.
Okay, cool. If you could fight anyone in any weight class, maybe just out of respect or even out of dislike, is there one guy in another weight class you just like to test your skills against?
You know, I get to train with these guys a lot, so it's really hard to pinpoint, but eventually, and I'm in no hurry to get it done, but I would say eventually all the champs pretty much. And I've been fortunate enough to train with Frankie Edgar a bit, GSP a little bit, the bigger guys.
How'd that go, GSP?
You know, we only did Nogi, but it was pretty good. I was pretty happy with how it turned out.
That's cool. That's cool. So, what's the most? Speaking of like training and things like that, what's the most memorable moment from a training session that people outside the gym wouldn't have heard about? Is there a story you can share?
Well, actually, yeah. Frankie actually said it was his funniest training moment, which it wasn't funny at all. There were a few of us training, and I got kicked in the eye, and I shattered my elbow socket.
I did hear about that.
So I couldn't see. Everyone was flipping out, and I had to eventually get surgery, but that was one that really sticks out.
That's funny. Okay, you and your brother were winners of the first season of Pros vs. Joes. What was it about your experience in the show that really ignited that fire again to be competitive and even in pursuing a career in MMA? Was there one moment there?
Yeah, I mean the whole thing in general. That's pretty much what sparked it. It had been a while since I competed, and when I competed on that show, it was like I felt, you know, mentally I knew I was going to win. I knew I was going to do well and everything. So it was coming away from that experience that really made me think, you know, I kind of want to start competing again.
Nice. You've said in a previous interview, your training consists of 150 miles on the road and 4 hours in the gym. Can you talk about the challenges of commuting to a number of different places and kind of almost like gym hopping in order to round out your training? Like, can you talk about different things you face just doing that regularly?
It's tough. You know, I look at some of the guys in Vegas or down in Florida where they have one, you know, home. But hey, it's not that way. You know, between my training at different gyms, between my fiance, between my hometown, I'm always on the road, always traveling. But yeah, it's to be the best. And since I've gotten a taste of that stuff, if I don't do it, I know I'm cheating myself.
So what do you think as far as, like you said, on the East Coast, it's a little bit harder to find if you're not in Florida. Do you see that in the future where more gyms come to be, where you can just, it's almost like a one-stop shopping type of thing, where you can just get that PA or...
Yeah, not so much, especially in New York, New Jersey, because there's so much limited space.
Yeah.
And it's so ungodly expensive that I really don't see that happening. It's possible and hopeful that MPA, you know, stuff like that starts to open up, and, you know, I eventually hope to have something like that.
Yeah, no, I read that somewhere. That was kind of one of your aspirations, to open a gym and to even just have kids reach their full potential, things like that. Could you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, you know, that's kind of seems to be the end, you know, place that we aspire to be. It's you know, it is work, but it's not, you know, what we would think of as work.
What I do is work.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's eventually what I'd like to do. Wrestling has formed me into what I am. Fighting has, you know, taken that from there. So, you know, I'd like to use that to get back to, you know, youth.
Okay, here's kind of an off-the-wall question. With budget cutbacks and downsizing the public school system, do you think that former teachers such as yourself and Franklin, among others, who've had successful transitions to MMA, are discovering an alternate career path for teachers that are losing their jobs? Is there like a little niche market there? You can bring some guys in and have them get rid of some frustrations.
Maybe I can open up a promotion strictly for that, but
I
don't think so. I think they'll use their head and go after something else.
All right, fair enough. You prophesized to a college buddy that you would one day fight in the UFC. Now that you're getting the opportunity to fight in the UFC in Pittsburgh, can you talk about how much that opportunity means to you, or like you kind of touched on it a minute ago when you were signing some autographs, but can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, I you know, vividly remember telling him I just got home from work. I was kind of like, you know, not real happy. I want to do something, and then to be able to leave home, start at ground zero, work my way up, get to the UFC, fight in the UFC, and then have it come back so close to home. It's really like it's come full circle, and to me this will be, I can't see fighting anywhere else better than fighting in Pittsburgh.
I'm sure you've done a ton of interviews over the course of your career. Is there one subject or one topic that's never been discussed, or something you've never been asked past that you'd like to kind of share about yourself? You know what I mean? Like, I know you answer probably the same old questions every
Yeah,
year.
you're right. This is interesting. This is a question. However, I don't know. Not so much. Just
Like anything we should know about the Spaniard that hasn't been covered 1,000 times yet.
really, it's been covered, but I'm really a homebody.
Yeah.
And like lately, I've been expressing in interviews and everything how difficult it is to not be home. To be living in New Jersey, living in New York, doing this on a daily basis. And people often say to me, I just had one yesterday, you don't have a job. He doesn't work. I want to tell people that I do have a job and I do work, and you would probably choose your job over the job that I have. So you can keep those comments to yourself, guys.
Well, I saw your blog where I think you left the house at 5:30. You're home at like basically 5:30 that night or something, and then you still weren't done. So yeah, I don't think people understand, just with the commute time, what that takes.
Yeah, it takes a lot day after day, and putting your body and more so mentally putting yourself
To get out of bed.
It's tough day after day, day in, day out.
Okay, here's something else kind of off the wall. I live in Central PA. We kind of touched on that a minute ago. And I spent some time in Altoona, and there was a rumor going around down there, and this was a few years back, so I went to a bunch of gyms and stuff, and they said you had a meeting or spoke to Dana White at one point. He said that you were too nice to fight in the UFC. You were too nice of a guy. Is that true?
Yeah, it wasn't to be in the UFC. It was to be on the Ultimate Fighter.
Okay.
But yeah, I went out to Vegas. I interviewed for the fight, or for the Ultimate Fighter, and I'm pretty much like the quote was, what am I going to do with you in a house full of guys,
Having to
with
break
mohawks and
anything or
tattoos?
eat anybody's food or anything.
Yeah, exactly. So in retrospect, I'm completely happy I didn't get on the show.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Is there anything you'd like to say? That's the last question I have. I'll let you get back. There's some people here forming a line, so I don't want to hold anyone up. But is there anything you want to say before we sign off?
Not really. Just thanks for the support. Please visit charlie-brenneman.com. Follow me on Twitter @SpaniardMMA. Thank you.